We Summon the Darkness is directed by Mark Myers and stars Alexandra Daddario, Keanan Johnson, Amy Forsyth, Logan Miller, and Johnny Knoxville. And trivia note: there's actually an actor named Austin Swift who's actually the brother of Taylor Swift. So, uh, and in this film, it's set in the 1988, where we have a group of girls that are on their way to a heavy metal show, and they come across these guys that are musicians, and they end up well, they're more like roadies, I guess, because they end up basically doing like going to concerts and stuff, and they end up attending this concert, and they end up getting back invited to the girl's mansion, and the one of the girls is a house out in the countryside, and um I'm gonna kind of leave it there because I'm trying not to give spoilers away just yet. So let's just say that something happens that results with it pretty much being well, in typical '80s type of fashion movies and stuff, it becomes pretty much a night to survive, so to speak. I'll leave it at there.
Actually, unfortunately, you can kind of bring it up because the trailers actually spoil the concept of what's going on. Where basically, I'm not going to mention if it's the girls or the boys, but somebody is there on purpose to do some cult-like shit to these certain people. And it is pretty much, if you see it in the trailers, Johnny Knoxville plays a cult leader who pretty much is saying that rock music is the devil. And he's pretty much got followers who are doing sadistic shit. And this is where I get lost to explain the rest of the synopsis, because we got a lot of problems with this film, folks. And the fact that I saw the 70% score on this movie just shows that, man, I've seen a lot of films this year that I disagree with heavy, and everybody's got the right to their own opinion, but the taste of people in films just boggling me. It's changed. It boggles my mind. So
yeah, after I'll be honest, man, like this is one of those movies that I think I maybe saw maybe a glimpse of a trailer of somewhat, and it kind of looked like a fun, type of like '80s kind of throwback, or a movie that's set like that, very that's dealing with like heavy metal type music and shit. And it kind of had like a feeling of a movie that came out a few years ago that we missed called American Satan that came out,
which I actually a really decent film and was pretty cool. Like I heard like the concept and what they did with that was actually like, it's a film that went underlooked, and I still to this day need to watch it. I really wanted to watch it that year it came out, because I think it came to our theaters and we just skipped it.
Yeah, we missed it. We missed it altogether when it came out because we just didn't watch it.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of decent things about that. So whenever I saw the trailers of it, it's kind of like what you said. So with the whole American Satan thing, I'm like, okay, maybe I can make up with this. Now, this film did come out in April, so this is something I've been seeing my Voodoo for quite a while. So I've been kind of avoiding it, thinking, is this a type of film I'm going to watch? I like to review and give somebody something new they haven't seen, but since a lot of people have been watching this, I figured I'd join the bunch. So upon seeing the film, oh my God, man.
Yeah, now what's interesting too is this director.
Go with how they fucked this up, and this is not even trying to be serious. And I'm gonna try not to be a fucking too big of an asshole here, because this isn't supposed to be like Titanic. Because this movie was solely made for video, and it's meant to be just like the cringeworthy, yet still entertaining low budget 80 horror films that for some reason I love, because I'm a big fan of, and that's what it's trying to attempt. But
it really wastes any kind of thing and have it going for it. Now, what's interesting about this film was this was actually directed by a guy that we directed a movie that we and him were supposed to go see a few years ago called My Best Friend Dahmer. And to this day, we still have to check it out. But from what I heard that movie wasn't too bad. So bad luck maybe for this director. I don't know, but after upon seeing the film, I can say, yeah, this was a film that while I wasn't pissed off, I was just more just like whatever kind of mood because well, there was a lot of things that really like I really was like fucking really confused with a lot of the time, and just like it got to a point where it became stale when it got to its second half. I'll get into that, but to get my pros out of the way, I will go ahead and say that surprisingly enough, I actually didn't mind the cast. I thought the cast like they brought some kind of like energy to the roles, and I actually like some of these actors I actually recognize a lot of these actors that are in this that are very young, and they've been in some other films like the girl. Who was in that movie a couple years ago called Hell Night. She plays one of the main girls along with Alexandra Daddario, and I thought out of the girls, like her like stood out the best for me. And especially like how one of them is basically like not quite like the other two are, so to speak, and but I'll leave it at there. Um, and I also recognize a couple of the other guys, like that guy Logan Miller, who was in Escape Room last year. I thought he was good too. I thought he, it's he kind of played like a similar role in this on that kind of like that kind of type of level where he's always trying to survive and stuff. And I thought he was all right. I thought he was good. And then one of the biggest standouts from one of the biggest ones I was interested in, but unfortunately he's hardly in it, was Johnny Knoxville. There is an interesting part to his character that I liked, but unfortunately it becomes a later con, so I can't. It's kind of a hit and miss for his character.
Yeah, I enjoyed the girls and the guys at the first. I will say it's more like a hit and miss for me because the first half of the film, the girls and the guys were were enjoyable on screen, especially Daddario and the quiet one. That's that doesn't really you kind of, she's like the girl who's like doesn't want to be there, and you feel like she's going to be the character that might switch her tone later on in the film. But I actually liked even the blonde girl. Yeah, a lot of people ain't talked about. They don't.
She kind of looks like Madonna.
She's the forgettable of the girls, but I thought they all three did very well. The guys were pretty cool. The 80s thing where they're going with the heavy metal thing. Now I did kind of find weird that they were going to a concert in the middle of nowhere, which I'm not saying that is not an issue because that does happen, but it was inside of a fucking building. Like I didn't really get the set piece of that, but I'm not gonna really bitch about that. But anyways, they're going to this 80s thing because it's set in the 80s, so it's an 80s themed movie. So they're going to see this rock band play, and I like the whole build up at the first half where like, okay, they're going to like this, this mansion, and you think there's gonna be some satanic shit going on because the girls are really into like Satanism and shit. That's what you think at first, and then like you think something's going to turn into kind of like a slasher type movie, and then the trailers I saw, I was like, okay, I can't wait to start seeing the cult shit. And like you said, Johnny Knoxville. I'm going to get my cons on this, but man, they had an opportunity of having what they did with the guy from Drive Angry. And unfortunately, they didn't get that because I'll get him my cons. But what we do see of him, he does seem like that kind of like preacher-esque type guy who is brainwashing the people because the whole thing is about him setting up set pieces of people going after people who listen to rock music, calling them devil worshippers. And there's possibly it's not even having as saying it's a spoiler. It's obvious he is wanting people dead who listen to rock, and he has followers killing for him. And that's pretty obvious in the trailer and even in the poster. If you look at the poster, he's shoehorned in the fucking poster right there. So
yeah,
you can tell poster that's villain. So you already know.
Even though on the idea of Johnny Knoxville doing like a more like serious type of role like this, you have some potential there, and if you would have done an opportunity for him, it would have made his character a lot more better for what he's given for the little performance that he has. he is actually good. It's just that he's completely wasted, is what we're trying to say. Because unfortunately, he's not on screen very long. But when he is, they unfortunately take any kind of substance that he had and they throw it out the window.
Yeah, so this is a type of low budget 80s wannabe 80s throwback uh, found at a rental store when we could rent movies. It's trying to be that level, and because of that, don't expect a lot of great performances. But that John Knoxville was decent, and a lot of these people are decent. The only problem is, I mean, I don't know what else I could get into. There were some brutal scenes that were really bloody. The kid who played off of Escape Room, I think with his more experience in acting, I thought that he was the strongest point of the film because he looks truly fucking terrified
Yeah,
that what's going on. The rest
yeah.
of the people,
Him and the other girl, I
had,
thought, yeah,
the other
him and yeah,
were kind of just straight to video scared. Them two, him and that girl, are truly fucking terrified. And I thought they gave a performance that was above scale of what this movie was asking. Because, like I said, it's trying to be low budget. And I mean, I really don't know what else to really explain in this movie.
Soundtrack was kind of good.
Soundtrack, it's trying to be, it's all about the 80s rock and roll. And there was actually this is where I don't get the tone of the film, and I'll get that in a second. But there was it was cool scenes hearing some 80s music. Let's just leave it at that. So this is going to probably be a really short review because there ain't much to this movie. It's, oh my God, it is so easy. So now we can get our cons because boy, do I have a fucking lot of them. This movie, well, all right, let me get this while it's on my mind. I said performances, right? Why I cared for them, but I cared for them in the first half. Second half, while at the first, when we get revealed there was something going on between a particular group, this actress kind of really went overboard and became kind of cringy. And it's disappointing because out of all the actors and actresses in this film, she's probably one of the most famous and most A-list. And it was shocking to see her in something this bad, and I'm hoping it doesn't ruin her career. But anyways, this film kind of gets annoying in the second half for me. And it gets boring. It feels like while you had a first draft, it feels like they said, oh shit, where's the second draft? Sorry, John, it burned in the trash, or Mark, whoever his name is. Just have him improvise the whole movie, the rest of the movie, because this second half feels painfully improvised. I mean, they seem lost in this is where the dialogue and the words it's just randomly coming out just to try to make a full movie. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching here? And not only that, if you're going to make an 80s throwback, I could think of some really low budget, cringeworthy 80s movies, and I would agree. They could be bad, but they're still entertaining. How the fuck do you say, I'm going to do that, bring back 80s horror, and I'm going to make it fun and cringy and just crazy, batshit crazy, and it ends up being fucking boring.
Yeah. Boring. Yeah, I completely agree right there. Like, we're going to get into spoilers now. The moment it starts to become that twist, what it reveals basically that it kind of flips it to where you're thinking it's basically the girls that are pretty much under the guys are basically the worshipers and stuff. They flip it, and there is a good concept with it, but unfortunately they waste it, and that's the girls being revealed as making it look like the victims are Satan worshipers. That's a neat concept. Unfortunately, they fucking waste it. For one, they mention that, well, the first to get this go, the moment we start seeing Alexandra Daddario start turning very more insane, it starts to become very cheap lines that she's given, and it becomes pretty cringy. While the other girl, the blonde girl, who has kind of the Madonna kind of look, seems like she's having some fun, and you can tell. Unfortunately, that's where you can tell a lot of the shit that they're giving feels very cheap and very like just it becomes a mess. And the moment when they get
riddle me this. These girls are followers of Johnny Knoxville's character, who is supposed to be like a cult, like a preacher type guy. And it does kind of come off like Children of Cornish when you see him on TV. So how in the fuck am I supposed to believe she's supposed to be a Christian believer? I get there's a concept behind it because he wants to frame to make it look like rock stars are killing people. I get that concept, but they don't come off as a bit Christian-like. They come off as real Satanists. So I don't fucking get what the fuck they were doing unless I'm missing something where, I mean, they act like the least bit Christian-like anyways. So I don't get the cult thing. It's like the advantage.
Well, it doesn't make sense because, okay, on the longevity, I get why they have to kill others that are around because of, no witnesses and all. And or basically they have to set up like they did it. But it just feels it doesn't make sense because because there's other people that come into the story and they just kill them at a random and then they complain about it. And it's like, okay, why did you in the first place? They didn't have any reason to kill them. And, not to mention,
it comes all over the fucking place where like you're lost at like who's doing what. It's just randomly stabbing. Then you get long drawn out fucking scenes where you get one guy is tragically fucking murdered, and it becomes like this kind of comedy. But this film is yet listed as a pure horror film, which I don't get because this was a horror comedy. I don't give what fucks what anybody says. There was too much comedy going on in the middle and the second half of this film for me to not label as a comedy horror because she, like Daddario's character is just laughing. That other blonde girl's throwing out jokes. She's bumping into walls and shit with her head like a klutz. Anyways, we get this long drawn out scene where these two guys are stuck in this room. One of them's severely injured, and they're finding they're finding shit like bug spray, and they're spraying it, and they're like, hey, we're gonna get you, boys. I'm just like, okay, so this is going from this movie has went from cult now just obsessed fucking I just want to kill you because I'm a nut case. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, and that to me is a very bad on its tone. There was another film a few years ago that actually did that tone better and actually did with the whole cult shit better. The Babysitter. The Babysitter did that a whole lot better because, for one, that was already a dark comedy that actually mixed this whole cult shit, but did it in a very fun way. Its tone was fucking all over the place. One part, it's fucking serious in the first half. Second half, it becomes like, okay, why are we putting in unplaced comedy scenes that have no bearing with the actual tone? It feels very out of place.
Let me ask you this. Holy shit. And speaking of low budget, what was up with that fucking Sam's Choice, Kenny Powers looking fucking cop coming in? I had to make sure it wasn't what's-his-face that plays Kenny Powers because he looked just like him, and I had to make sure he didn't have a twin brother trying to get into Hollywood. That dude looked just like him. There was people randomly fucking coming into the scene, and it just felt like a set piece more than anything, more than an actual movie. You get one random cop that doesn't have a radio, so he can't radio anybody, and he tragically gets fucking killed. Ooh, man. And he doesn't even have sheriff on his thing. He couldn't afford a sheriff patch. Then you have the fucking stepmom coming home and then fucking doing cocaine. Everything is trying to shoehorn 80s in, but it is getting forced into the movie. And just like another thing, they bring up dialogues about finding certain 80s stars at the time hot. The music playing that one girly song whenever they're trying to be clever and funny, which again, the thing has it labeled under horror. But then this girly music plays from the 80s. I forgot the song's name. And I forgot the name. It's like, ooh, baby. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're talking about.
Like, you just randomly came in and it's trying to be on the comedy level, but again, it doesn't have comedy on it. So I didn't get I didn't get the joke, and it just ended so abruptly that there was really no joke to
it. That, and also my biggest other problem I have with this is they go in length about, well, they don't go in length. They mention in exposition that they're basically part of a bigger cult of other groups that are around and shit, of Johnny Knoxville's cult and stuff. We never ever see them come into play. They don't explore what happens. They make it, well, other than they set up toward, like, spoilers toward the end. They actually try to set that up, saying it was all covered in some way. But even still, they don't take full advantage of that. There's a lot of holes that they don't explain about this cult that they're talking about.
I have a hard time believing the whole cult thing going around, because they should never added that in. They should have just said that Daddario and the blonde girl was going around killing people all over the country, and could have stuck it to more just them. And then they're trying to get the third girl to do it because she's a runaway. She's just now learning how to trying to learn what they're doing. And the only reason why I bring that up is it just feels random that nobody outside, which spoiler, well, you already said spoiler. We're going to go spoiler completely. You said fuck it. Like the movie did, said fuck it the second half. And the spoiler part of Daddario's character being the daughter of Johnny Knoxville's character. So you can actually kind of feel the more brainwashed closer when it's father and daughter. So how am I going to sit there and believe that he's got other people when I don't see him at some seminar thing doing some kind of like Kane from Poltergeist where he's brainwashing people? I don't see any of that. Honestly, I don't see him wear a fucking preacher thing. But the poster in the beginning of the movie, when he finally comes at the end of the movie, he looks like a guy who just came from the bar because he's fucking strung out because his wife left him. I mean, he does not look like anything near a preacher at the end. But I will say he does give a kind of scary performance. But it ain't gonna work with 4 minutes and 25 seconds of fucking screen time in this movie. Thank you, poster, for fucking shoehorning because you tricked me. Because I didn't get that. If I wanted to watch ass fucking girls act weird and do stupid shit and be clever about it, I'd probably watch Heathers, wherever that movie was called. or Craft.
Or even The Craft from the 90s. You want a better cult movie that involves with shit like that? Watch The Craft. You're better off watching that any day.
God damn, this movie really dropped the ball in the second half. I'm sorry, even for not I can't. I know you're not supposed to take it too seriously, but come on now. Like I've seen, I mean, at least Trolls 2 you could probably laugh at. This just was trying to be campy like those movies, but if this movie came out in the 80s, this probably would be one of the ones you fucking don't want to watch. It's that low. But like I said, there are some neat openings. There's neat setup pieces. The execution it just fucking fell like a goddamn plane without its engines running from the sky to the ground. It just collapsed completely. Every minute it kept going by. I'm doing this. Oh my God, man, this is boring. Holy shit. And why does this got a 70% score? Who the fuck reviewed this movie? And what the hell were they smoking? Because I didn't watch the same movie. I couldn't it's sad because 80s campy horror films, you could smoke weed and drink and laugh and have cool time with your friends. This, I guarantee I could have done both and I'd still be bored. This probably would have ruined my eye. So, and I'm nice here when I'm going to give this score. This is a very low disaster grade, and the Film Phreeks made it for me. Very low.
Yeah, I'm going with more because I just found it more like I wasn't in that like very rage induced because I was just sitting there like, yeah, some of this shit is just ridiculous and I'm just not really feeling the movie. It's not like the worst thing, so with that, I'm getting just a regular disaster grade. But still, literally, once it gets that second half, that's where it was just like, okay, they fucking gave up here. It's like, what am I watching?
There, because it made no sense. the structurally, just I felt like I said earlier, it feels like they had like a couple pages and then it ran out, and they just said, "Fuck," just keep going, just say something.
Yeah.
Randomly say something. Yeah, Judd Nelson's hot. Yeah, just randomly say that because they do actually say that. Say this and that. Try to get through the movie, and let's just have Johnny Knoxville come in and randomly fight his daughter, and then a bunch of people get hit by this fucking boat motor, and just rinse and repeat the same shit. One guy's damn near dying from a fucking slice from a wound, but then yet take bullets to the chest. Something's really not making any fucking sense. And then that, while if you want to be 80s campy horror and bloody, why did you cut off that fucking scene where what's her face gets ran over, which could have been a brutal ass fucking death scene? Why did you do that? And two, did she really survive that 2-story fall face first to the concrete? No.
Can't tell me shit like that would happen. Hell, if you want to see a movie that does that shit better, even on a, I mean, this was a lot more better movie overall, but you remember Fear? How a person falls out of a fucking building like that and just collapse? That's how you do it right.
That's the thing. She fell like that and somehow survived the motherfucker for a split second.
But here's the part off remember off the remake of Point Break where they fall at the fucking waterfall and they're led to believe they survive? I'm like, bullshit.
Guys, if you're watching the title "We Summons the Darkness" and you're thinking you're gonna get this Pentagon, this cool witchcrafty like craft type of thing, they actually abandon the title and their structure of that completely in the middle of the movie, and they really don't go back to it. It just becomes a, oh fuck, let's cover our mistakes up. Over.
Yeah. So, well. Yep. For those who have also seen We Summon the Darkness, or We Summon We
summoned the second plot because we needed the second half of the fucking script.
Yeah. But let us know. Let us know in comments below what you thought about it, and stay safe. And thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you in our next review. We'll see you later.